Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, if you've been a fan of my channel for any period of time, probably longer than a year, not even actually, you could probably even just say a couple of months, you'll know that I'm a big fan of Spyro the Dragon. Back in the day, this was one of the first games I played. Basically, the entire trilogy was like the first handful of games I played. Needless to say, I'm a huge fan, and I've been waiting for this for all year, or something like this, for quite some time. I have to jump in. I can't resist myself. This is honestly Christmas come early, to say the least. And I am so very excited to play this. This is actually more like a dream come true. I figured that we would get to a point it would never happen. But here on the 20th anniversary, more or less, we have an updated remake remaster of Spyro the Dragon. Now, of course, it has the day one patch for the other later games, which is really nice, obviously. So we picked save slots, apparently. We have Spyro 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, we'll start with Spyro 1, just because that's the classic, the original. A lifetime ago, I did say, and hopefully they would get around to this, and they actually did. I'm very excited. In the world of dragons, name a more iconic duo than Spyro and Sparks. I dare you. I'm not too huge of a fan on some of the redesigns of some characters, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. Absolutely.
Okay, rolling.
It's been peaceful here in the Five Worlds, or is it 6? For a dragon's age, we now have 12,000 treasure, or is it 14,000?
What about this Ganasty Ganok character? Now, I understand he's found a magic spell.
He's watching it on TV.
I'll take that question.
I got it, Grubs.
Nork is a simple creature.
Simple?
He has been contained in a remote world.
Oh, they got meme posters.
The Dragon Kingdom.
No, Brad!
Besides, he is ugly.
Ugly? That does it!
Gets the helmet. Oh shit. He's rolling out like it's raid night. Look at this shit.
Huh? Looks like I've got some things to do.
So he knows Spyro's coming for him and he doesn't do anything? Okay. Yeah, Tube TV, which no one will ever remember in about 20 years. That's only for OGs. Now, good fucking God, this looks amazing. The first thing I will do, though, is I want to see. You can turn the map... Oh, I think this is actually new. This didn't exist in the original. You can turn the camera to active. I like having it on active. Just because that's the way I learned to play the game. We have pretty much everything as intended. It plays exactly the same, which, I mean, was to be expected. But it's still kind of crazy how just how nice some of this feels. I guess we should probably rescue the tutorial dragon, just to go ahead. If you've played this game, you're probably having the same shock that I have, because this looks vastly different, and to be fair, it feels vastly different as well. What's up?
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Free 10 dragons in the Artisan world, then find the balloonist. He'll transport you to the next world.
What about Nasty Nork? I'm going after him.
Find dragons first. That's all I can tell you.
So, just in case you're wondering, they actually got Tom Kenny to voice Spyro for this game. He didn't voice Spyro in the original Spyro. It wasn't until Spyro 2 and 3 that he became the default voice of Spyro. So, actually, do you even rotate the camera in this game? They did bring back the rolling. I wonder if that's going to be in Spyro 2 and 3. Actually, active feels very quick in this game. It might not be exactly the same as I remember it. But yeah, the first world here in the Artisan home world is pretty straightforward. You have your typical sort of like learn how to platform shenanigans and tomfoolery. But it's nice with the fire effects, to say the least. I wonder, can you still gain extra lives by collecting the little particle things? You can do this. Seems like each dragon has its own unique cutscene to boot.
Where's Nasty Nork? I'll torch him.
Keep your horns on, Spyro. You have much to learn first. Do you know what the dragonfly following you is doing? His name is Sparks, and he's helping and protecting you. Keep an eye on him.
This is
See
lit.
what I mean?
And then they all fly away. I like that. I like the little touches that they added to the various cutscenes. So, usually you don't... Can you swim it? You probably can't swim in this game. They probably kept that completely faithful. I think this stays open. Right? Hop, skip, and a jump. Yeah, well, I already knew about it. I have 20 years advanced knowledge on this, so I actually still already know about it. So it has trophies. I don't think I really need to say too much. I'm going to probably try to get all the trophies if they're pretty simple. Especially if it's, you know, something you can get from doing the playthrough. The vampire, or I always used to think they were like vampire coffins. It's really kind of weird because they don't attack you at all. In fact, all they do is they just give you loot. Now, in this game, Sparks actually can eat butterflies. That's not something that he could do in the original. If you were at full health, he would just leave the butterflies alone. So can you do the... I wonder if you could still do the cheat to be able to see all the different gems in the level, if that's been added to this game.
Flash, do that again.
The Artisans' boss is through a portal in the Dragon Mouth, but you are not yet ready, Spyro. First, you must complete one of the other Artisan lands.
Oh, you could get to, what is it, Toasty that quick. So I think we'll do Stone Hill first. There's only 3 worlds here in the Speedway. Between what is it? It's Dark Hollow, Stone Hills, and Town Square.
Hey, Spyro, press the jump button twice to glide. And don't be afraid.
Afraid? Of what?
Falling from high mountain peaks? Plummeting into prehistoric glaciers?
Oh, that.
Oh, like, it even tells you when you found all the dragons. So we're gonna have some fun on the level treetops once again, where I always seem to forget exactly how to do that particular level. Treetops is honestly one of the hardest levels, I think, in any Spyro game. Okay. I know there's treasure down here. I think the first starting world actually only has 100. What is kind of funny, though, is that this is the only Spyro game that has enemies in the overworld. Every other Spyro game does not feature enemies in the overworld that you actually fight. Yeah, there's no hover in this game. So they did kind of give them a couple different extra things. I think maybe they changed a couple mechanics, like you could probably get extra lives from eating butterflies in this game, since they allow you to eat butterflies at a higher level, or when you're at full health. But I doubt that they probably added anything else extra. It seems like they kept Spyro exactly as he was to be faithful. Which, I mean, that's the point of a remake. So I can't fault them for that. Right? Is there anything ever out along here? No. Okay. So let's just... You know what? We'll do Town Square first. We're already over here. We don't need to come back once we go through. I think the remaining treasure is down by the balloonist. And maybe inside the mouth of the Toasty Dragon. But as you can see, yeah, fully speedy. It has a much higher frame rate, to say the least. And it's not like the Japanese version where they had the weird camera angle that I still need to play someday, just to say I can, and I did, and I will. Fully seamless, man. Which is crazy because I was just playing Spyro 1 earlier this year, and it's such a great throwback, to say the least. Now, R2 also lets you shoot fire, for various reasons, I guess. Look at that! That's lit!
Welcome to Town Square, Spyro. Begin exploring by gliding to that area with the bulls. Use the right stick to get a good look.
I wonder if you can still do... He tips over his... He tips over his fucking statue. Alright. None of this is really meant to be challenging until you get to, like, World what, Magic Crafters. I think Magic Crafters is where it actually, like, kind of gets, you know, kind of cost, actually difficult. I guess if you had hovering in this game, it would make it way too easy to just sort of, like, skimp around and do whatever. Because all these jumps were not made for hovering.
Thanks, Spyro. I had the worst itch on the tip of my wing. Did you know that you get your longest glides by pressing the jump button at the very top of your jump?
Oh. Does Spyro not respond in any of the ones in this world? I'm actually not too sure. What is cool is that they literally are exactly the same as they were in the original. Probably, I wonder if they even got some of the original voice actors to reprise their roles. As minor as that sounds, that is pretty cool that they pretty much sound exactly as they did. It's literally probably the same guys. Okay. This is a fairly short world. Unfortunately, I think that's the one thing about Spyro, and not that I can fault it. This is probably going to be like the fastest playthrough ever. Because when you take out load times and you take out everything else, these games are not that long, unless you're trying to 100% them. Oh, fuck me. Which, I mean, I will do that. I think this one is the hardest one to do because you don't have the dragonfly cheats, so if you don't know what you're missing and where, it is a little difficult. This is how you're supposed to do this. I know that for a fact. Yes. Oh, you know what it is? You actually jump higher in this game, it feels like. It feels like you jump and you reach your max height a lot later in the jump than what I'm used to. Oh shit, well, he already took off. Where the hell did he go? Does he jump around? Okay, whatever. I didn't expect him to run away that quick. I think what will end up happening, though, is that they're probably, hopefully, going to make another Spyro game after this. Maybe if they give it a little bit of time, that would be pretty cool. I won't hold my breath, but sure, I would actually be open to that, even if it's just a simple sort of a deal.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. You can always track your progress by accessing the guidebook through the pause menu.
This guy's quenching that fucking thirst, alright? And we'll get the egg.
Spyro, did you see a man dressed in blue running around here? He's
Absolutely.
A thief, and he's stolen a dragon egg. You've got to track him down and get that egg! Run! Run! I'm getting a little winded.
Okay, very simple. Yeah, it feels like you reach your max jump a lot slower in this game. Yeah, because now I know that it's not a problem. Oh, well, apparently it still is. It feels like, I don't know, maybe the jumps, like the vertical lift has been slowed just slightly. Oh, that's not going to work. So the platforming is just a bit more precise, in my opinion. Alright, that works. I need to get all this extra stuff. Wait, where'd the thief go? Oh, he actually has a full path this time. Is it? No, it's a troll. You're supposed to jump down there and follow him. He doesn't actually do it. Because before, that thief is actually supposed to, I believe, I think actually he does do that. He jukes you out like that. It's kind of a trick, because you're not actually chasing him around the arena. He just teleports once you get to the end there. There you go. So can you flame after? Probably. I think they might have removed that to be able to flame immediately out of a charge and then charge again and have the flame go with you. I think that was kind of abusing the way that the flame works in the original, because it doesn't seem like you can do that in this game. Seems like where you put the fire basically stays. I guess for lack of a better word. Okay, well, in any event, I think there's one other thing. I can really not do this. I think the last thing I need to do is I need to bust the metal top thing that I passed up earlier. Yeah, this is really bad of me. I actually cannot make it up there. There you go. And that time I make it perfectly, so I don't know what I did it different. I gotta practice that way more. I think in this one there aren't any rockets that open up the metal containers, so the only way to open these is to flame them until they spin. Uh-oh, now I'm missing some. Let me do all of the things I didn't do before. I'm actually curious if we'll find an extra life just by burning chickens in this game. Because in the original Spyro, the only way you got lives was by replaying levels and killing old enemies to basically farm pickups. Or you could just simply play the game up front, and sometimes you would run into those coffins that would give you extra lives. That's pretty much the only ways of getting extra lives in Spyro 1. Unlike the sequels where they made it sort of a random thing that sometimes they'll throw in, I think, to give you a little bit extra help. Alright, here we go. I think I've forgotten about that specific bit of treasure before as well. Just because it's kind of directly out of sight, out of mind. It's a little weird in that regard. Alright, and then we have the return home portals, which are only ever used in this game. The sequels opt for normal portals that you just fly back through. They're just normal exit gates, as opposed to like these pedestals. I think the hardest levels to master are in the final world, the Dreamweavers. I think that, needless to say, that's the worst. Between like some of the invincible enemies and the stuff that they do, I think those are not like the worst levels, but they're the worst to try to 100. Just because they require you to pretty much do stuff like very, very narrowly perfect. So we'll do Stonehill, which is the first level you're supposed to do, ironically. I think Town Square is kind of supposed to be the last you're supposed to do in this area. I do like that this is more fluid. It's not just like a bunch of jump cuts between stuff, but it does seem to take a while. I guess for the first time you enter every level. And it is one big animation, which is nice. Okay. You can butt heads with the goat. You actually beat out the goat. These things were hella intimidating on the PS1. Because they look like they're actually tough. They're actually some of the easiest enemies in the game that actually try to attack you. Okay.
When you free a dragon or step on one of their platforms, you're saving your progress. That could be useful if you run into trouble. Not that you ever run into trouble, Spyro.
Yeah, in fact, in this game, it seems like you just need to walk near it. You don't even need to actually step on it. They auto-save you pretty quickly. I think that originally you actually had to step on it. Like, actually physically maneuver onto it and wait. Because you don't interact with them anymore. They're just kind of there. Maybe you can replay the dragons? I don't know. Actually, we'll try that at the next dragon. I want to kill this thing first. Because there's a second one in here. Oh no, there isn't. Now, I remember this level distinctly because once you get up top, what ends up happening is that you have to find gems up top. But because it's just a vast sea of grass, it's kind of hard to actually see it because the PlayStation doesn't pop it in quickly.
All the dragons pass through this fancy vortex thingamajigger. It'll take you back to the artisan home. But first, let me tell you a story.
Some other time. It's kind of weird because they have a... Can you? Oh yeah, you can. Triangle, they kept that. You can resummon the dragons. Because before it used to be save game... Exit game? No, it used to be save game, replay dragon, or leave. Okay. Since you autosave every single step basically in this game, there's no reason to do that anymore.
Watch the dragonfly, Spyro. His color indicates his power.
Look at those
When
tats.
he eats butterflies, he stays strong, like me.
Sure.
They gave him the strongman look. They were playing some Red Dead. I guess I'm never finishing Red Dead Redemption 2. I should. I pretty much assume I'm not going to do that anytime soon. Oh well. Life is tough. Let's see. Do you take drowning damage? Oh, they don't let you jump in these anymore? You could jump in some fountains like that. Yeah, they pretty much have to, because otherwise what you would end up doing is you could just literally just pose in water, pretty much. It's not an obstacle. I remember these guys kicking my ass. Because they're actually pretty quick animations in Spyro 1. A lot of these enemies have pretty much instant hitbox attacks, depending on where they are. So that guy with the cane, for instance, he attacks very quick. There's like the dogs in one of the later levels actually attack very quickly. I actually want to see Metalhead. I want to see what they did to Metalhead. I thought that was one of my favorite bosses in Spyro 1. I like the Beastmaker worlds.
Spyro, my friend, how about a hint on gliding?
You bet.
For the longest glide, press the jump button at the top of your jump, and try pressing the action button to drop down mid-flight.
Okay. The weird stare down he had at the end. Yeah, the drop down ability only exists in this game, thankfully. Yeah, since now that we don't have hop-in necessarily, it's not that bad to try to see other things. Like, if you put side-by-side, screen-by-screen comparisons of a lot of the shots in this game, you got, like, there's a certain something to really appreciate about this, I really feel. The only thing is they don't have a rotating camera in this game at all. It's just simply toggle it behind you other than the stick. That is throwing me off a bit, because I before I used to use right stick for camera all the time, I pretty much grew up using L2 and R2. Okay. I guess, to be fair, they made the thieves a bit easier to cut off, since you can no longer flame charge. I knocked him off the cliff. I executed him. Yeah, if you hit these, you can't go any further. But it's nice that there's actually, like, stuff out there. It's not just, like, vast, like, polygon platforms in the distance to sort of represent, like, just a world beyond the boundaries. Yeah, otherwise there's not too much up here. I think, I don't remember where the key is. I think the key might be somewhere over here. No, I know where the key is. You gotta drop down to the beach, which is also kind of a little secret, because they don't explicitly show that you could do that. But I feel like there's stuff out on, like, the edge. I just don't want to miss it. Like, there's random stuff, like, here and there. And what's crazy is that they streamlined this so very nicely. Spyro 1 is probably the least streamlined of the games. Or, well, technically, it is kind of the most, because you can beat every level 100% the first time you enter it. You don't have to, like, leave and then rejoin and come back later with a different ability or character. This is the only Spyro game where you can legitimately beat a level the first time you show up to it. No extra tricks, no anything. Okay, we have the key. I don't think they ever reuse this. Oh, yeah, you do take it. Yep, yes you do, and you really feel it in this game. Holy shit. But yeah, you do. Which, in this game, the water used to look like goo. I think they literally just recolored the goo from the original. Whereas in this game, it looks like normal water, so it's kind of a weird weakness, I guess. Considering that in the sequel, he learns how to swim just fine. But, yeah. I think that's it, right? Yeah. It's so much easier when you can actually see the gems in the grass. And they're not, like, off in the distance. Dark Hollow, I think, is my favorite of the Artisan World levels. I like just the dynamic of it. It's just a decently well done level. It might be short. It might not be the most, like, non-linear. But I think Dark Hollow is cool because I like sort of, like, dark levels. I think it's different than, like, the cheerful Artisan atmosphere, which I guess is to be expected. So do you get extra lives? Yeah, you do. You build them the same way. Okay. I think the remainder are right down here by the balloonist? Yes. Not that there's any point to move on yet, because we can pretty much easily wrap up most of this. I think I saw a couple... They had a lot of pre-release screenshots of this game, and I saw quite a lot of it, because obviously I could not help myself. It looks pretty nice, a lot of the different things. I didn't really see much of Spyro 2 and 3, because I don't think they released as much for Spyro 2 and 3. I just know that Ripto looks very weird now. They really... That's one redesign I wasn't totally on board for. Ripto looks a little weird. I don't know how the source fix looks. Not yet, at least. Oh wow, that's the end of this area. It made this area feel a lot smaller. Oh shit, he actually chases you. Get out of here, dude. They made them look way bigger, though. I thought that they were fat guys for a minute and they had to be flamed. And these guys gotta be flamed, which is why they have the wooden shield. Oh, look, Alvin! Not with an A, though.
Oh, it's you. I wasn't sure if you'd escaped those annoying little creatures. Of course they wouldn't bother me, but here's a hint. Their metal armor is fireproof, but a charge attack will take care of them.
I like how all of the different dragons are basically supposed to be more themed with their world. So like here, this is like a library now. None of these bookcases existed in the original. So this is more like a library now, where they have like scribes and stuff, right? Oh, look at this. Very good. What was it? Stonehill was, yeah, this guy doesn't do any damage to you. Stonehill had a bunch of artists. And, Town Square had a bunch of, like, chefs. Yeah, I could start here. I guess I could kind of sympathize with the various Crash Bandicoot people. I do feel a difference in the movement system.
Spyro, want to know a secret? Use the action button when you want to zoom in and look around.
Oh, you're
Triangle
safe
is the
with me.
action button, I guess. What's weird is that in this game, if they let me show it, it's not hold anymore. It's now toggle. I wonder if you could put it back to toggle. You probably can. Not that I ever looked really at the options. All I did was set it to active because I knew that they added the active-passive split, which I don't think was in the original. So that is something new that they added in, was that you could change the camera to active. Before, I think the camera was always on active. There was no passive for the camera to adjust outside of like really weird camera positions. Okay, obviously we have this over here. So I wonder what the beast makers are going to be, like monster breeders, I guess? I'll have some weird stuff in a minute. Get up, you're fine. Where's the last guy? Oh, apparently I hit all three of them. Okay. That's the exact same sound clip that they play in Rayman 2. Light my fire. Yeah, so I guess a lot of the levels do have trophies then. It's not just going to be for 100%ing the game. It's going to be like all the weird eccentric stuff you could do now for trophies, I guess. I'll have a look once we're done, and we'll mop up anything that we missed. Seems like most of them are pretty straightforward, though. Like, each level has, like, one little unique thing that it had from before. Well, we all know that this isn't really over until I get to 99 lives, right? That's actually something I did once in Spyro 1. And then I lost all my save data, and I pretty much never did it again. Because it's not a waste of time, it's just not a greatly efficient usage of it.
Big enemies like this Nork with the club cannot be charged. But a quick flame, that should defeat them.
Alas, poor Yorick. Yeah, no thief in this, right? Level complete. I believe in the original Spyro, it did say level complete, it just showed everything being maxed out. Whereas in later Spyros, it actually tells you straight up level complete. Because Spyro started being less a collect-a-thon, kinda, and they started locking more stuff behind activities that you actually needed to do. I guess we should do the Speedway before the boss, because the Speedway is always my least favorite part of the level. I think also in the original, if you don't enter this stage after unlocking it, it closes. But you can unlock it again just by doing the platform jumping. Here, they kept it open, so I guess they changed that. Now, I don't remember the order to do things in this one. I never remember it. You're supposed to start out flying. Yeah, here we go. I never remember the order in which you're supposed to do anything for these levels. I know I didn't look it up ahead of time. I never look. I always say I should look this stuff up, and I never do it. And I'm awful at this. Oh, look, he can't swim. He's fine. This water's A-okay, though, of course. I think you're not supposed to start with trains. I think you're supposed to start with gates. Well, this was way more painless. That was, like, the best run I've ever had of something like that. So what I did there is I did barrels, chests, arches, and planes. Pretty much the most straightforward one that I've actually done ever. Let me mute this real quick. Oops. Much better. But, yeah, that actually took me a lot longer than I thought it would. What I didn't know is that if you press triangle, apparently it basically causes you to quit. You just fall and you can never actually cancel out of it. And you just have to either, I guess, land on actual solid ground, or the game will just cause you to roll into water. So I actually did not know that. I don't know if that's always been like that, or if that's just new for this. I don't know. Not that it really matters. I shouldn't press triangle anyway when it comes to stuff like that. So let's actually do Toasty, who was the first boss. Now, this level I remember distinctly because the gray pit bulls, I guess, are pretty vicious in this game. They just belly flop, pretty much, and they do it very quickly. They're very aggressive in the original game. Yes, they are. Holy shit. They are incredibly aggressive with their tracking belly flop. That scared the shit out of me the way he moved. That was like Ultra Instinct style dodging. But they don't really care about their owners too much. Okay. Otherwise, they're not a threat. It's just that that's very, very quick, and I don't think there's as many healing items, or I don't even know if there's any healing items in this game or in this level. I'm saying this game like it's a survival horror game. Yes, that hurts. I tried to charge past him, but I got blocked by him. I'm just gonna retreat. Wow! That was incredibly far range. You could tell they played the source material. I think what's really trollish is that they take 2 hits to defeat, so you kind of are forced to deal with the fact that they basically go rage mode. Pretty much can't avoid it. That actually hit me. I'm getting my ass handed to me. Let's hit the checkpoint.
Nasty Nork has put one of his most devious henchmen in charge of the Artisan world.
Bring him on! I think I smell a barbecue.
Be careful, Spyro. Toasty has many tricks up his sleeve.
I don't think that really any other boss is as difficult as Toasty, though. I think pretty much all the other bosses are difficult because they have hard levels, not necessarily because they're actually... Oh, fuck me. Yeah, that's a good night. Yikes. I don't think any other boss is actually really that difficult, though. They're just difficult because they have hard levels. Reigniting. Probably be able to do the Spyro 2 skip. Did you see what he just did? He legitimately levitated sideways towards me. That's a little cheap. I don't think there's anything else out here. No. It's pretty straightforward. Pretty much have to outglide them. Yo, he looks like an actual scarecrow now. Holy shit. You're getting lit. Okay, maybe you can defeat them in one hit. If you jump with them, it looks like. I mean, you're telling me I never knew that. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I think I defeated 2 of them, actually. Toasty himself is not that hard at all. I always just chalked it up as them just being incredibly annoying to have to deal with at all. Alright, so we're done with the Artisan world. You can flame them and then jump with them and flame them again. I don't even know if you can do that in the original. Maybe I just never tried. I don't know. I won't deny that I probably didn't do anything about that. Oh yeah, and he only eats 1 butterfly, but he basically eats everything around him. That also is a later game feature where he doesn't have to eat 1 by 1.
Wow! I see you've been busy rescuing dragons, Spyro.
Actually talks in this
You may
game.
travel to the Peacekeeper's world if you like. Are you ready to go?
Absolutely. We on that Peacekeeper shit, dude. Boom. Boom!